Ja, good afternoon. Look number 323, that is ILS monitor.
Hello, 323, very sorry. Good afternoon. Continuous approach for runway 18 left.
323. Превышка R309, день добрый, направо.
Very sorry, добрый день. Экипажу продолжайте руление поправо на предварительной полосе 18 лет.
R309 уже поправо на предварительные 18 левых.
Hello friends, this is ramzzess speaking from FlightFactor, and I'm going to give you a short introduction into our new model, which is the Airbus A350. This video will be an introduction for your familiarization with the model and the new ways of control we have introduced in the A350. This is not going to be a tutorial. There's probably going to be one or a few later, hopefully by some pilots on the forum. So let's go into the cockpit and see what's new in this model. So here we're in the cockpit. Let's look around. So what the Airbus guys did in this A350, they've placed very large displays and very few buttons in the cockpit. And this is an Airbus, so you'll find a lot of very familiar things, but still the main method of control of the aircraft system is going to be through touchscreen displays or pop-ups if you wish to use them. So first let's just go through each display. So here on the left we have the OIS, which is a display that in reality displays a lot of things, including maps, location of the plane, documentation, things like this. So for us now we can see the option screen here, and I'll go through other displays which you can see on this display later. This is the regular navigational display and primary flight display. Here we have the ICAS mailbox, which by the way sometimes will be used. The warning display. Here we can see the FMS. This is the new MFD system, which is a multifunctional display where you can use the FMS instead of the regular MCDU. And here you can see the checklist displayed at the moment. So if we go to the back, here you will see that we have placed a familiar MCDU as a backup, which you can also use. The right hand displays are also functional. So here you have these first officers, MD and PFD, and this is a non-functional display. To tell you the truth, we just ran out of place on the panel to display something here. But basically it's supposed to be a reflection of this display, which you could also use in real plane at the same time. So now here we have the autopilot controls and the navigational display and controls, and the overhead is very similar to other Airbuses, very similar to the A380 if you are familiar with this plane. Well, we can look at the back. We can just go around the cockpit. Oh, nothing new here. Alright, so the most important thing to note is that the real pilot will use this joystick or mouse control to move a real mouse cursor around the displays and manipulate different virtual buttons which are displayed here on the screens. Now of course it wouldn't be prudent in a simulator model to make you guys use some kind of joystick, so there are three ways in which you can control those displays. So the displays which you can control is this display on the bottom and this display here. They are both touchscreens. So the first method of control would be just to push different buttons using your mouse. So as you can see, you have a special cursor here which shows you where the mouse on the screen is, and you can manipulate different functions on the displays. We can go here, we can choose different checklists, we can go here, choose other things, and so forth. So this would be the first method by which you can control the displays, the touch displays on the MFD and the OIS. Some of you may not like panning around the cockpit and pushing virtual buttons using your mouse. So for you, we have created an option here to use the pop-up. So you can use this option, and now those displays become not touchscreen displays, but you can pop them up. Basically, what you can do is pop those displays up like this and use them in the very same way. Now they will stick here. You can also, if you like, move them a little bit outside the screen, not too much, so they don't disappear. So this would be a second way of manipulating the MFD and the OISs. There is a third way, which basically imitates this joystick. What we have here is a roll wheel, a little roll wheel like on your mouse, and a check button. Now in reality those are only used for the warning display, but here in the real plane you also have a roll wheel. Of course we wouldn't ask you to use this one because it's really hard to reach in the same. So there are three functions, three commands, which are roll wheel down, roll wheel up, and check, which you can find in the manual, and you can hook them to any three buttons. I prefer using my plus, minus, and star buttons on the right top side of my regular keyboard. This way they're together, they're close by, and I can use them as if I'm using a roll wheel and this joystick. Now here's how you use them. So each of the manipulatable points here, like buttons or menus, has an order. So I can click on my plus and minus signs like rolling a wheel, and the cursor will jump from one manipulatable point to the next and can go round and round. I can push my star button to click. So I can choose different options here. This will work on all the three manipulatable displays, and you can choose which one you are controlling with your roll wheel and click by pushing the buttons here. So at the moment you can see Captain here on the MFD. I can click checklist, and now my plus and minus signs are controlling this one, or I can click on OIS and I'll go here. This might not be somebody's preferred way, but it simulates the joystick if you really want to use it. The really unfamiliar part here is getting used to entering numbers. So I'm at on the init page in the FMC, and I want to enter a from or to destination. So I can do this in one of two ways. I need to click here, and then I can either use the in-cockpit keyboard or my real keyboard. So I go here and you will see keyboard focused. This means that your real keyboard is focused on this field at the moment, and whatever you enter will actually go into the field. So I'm going to write UKDD, which is my home airport, not Christchurch where I'm actually sitting now. And until I click enter, or actually click here again, this field will not be filled. So always remember that you always have to click enter after you have filled the field, even if you have actually filled it to the fullest. So I click enter, I see keyboard focused went away. That means that I've actually entered UKDD. So I can go here and write something else. So I'll write ULL, for instance. Now I can press escape, which will delete it. Okay, so UKLL. So I clicked again, and it was just like clicking enter. So I can write the flight number, whatever, this is test flight, enter. And this way I can enter different things. So for cruise level, for instance, I can use this keyboard. No, not really useful, but probably like that. Yeah, you see, I couldn't see what I was writing, so click. Doesn't matter, flight level 1 to 8 is in. Now for those of you who prefer using the pop-ups and might want to use the wheel and click method, or wheel and pop-up, option here, so now I have pop-ups on, and I can use my plus and minus keys. I can still use the keyboard if I want, so this is a little more tricky. I will go here, sorry, and I will click star, which is programmed to be click, and now I can either use this keyboard here, or I can actually use my real keyboard by pressing here. See, press for key input, and now my real keyboard can be used. Right, so this is basically the two ways you can use your keyboard with or without the pop-up plus will function. I will turn this off now. I don't like this. I prefer clicking in the cockpit. Alright, now when we know how to manipulate the different things in the cockpit, we can go and do a little orientation. So first of all, this is the MFD display. You can switch them around if you want, all of them, like this. And basically this has your FMS inside, which comes instead of the MCDU, the MFD display. As this is not a Pro model like our Boeings, but rather an advanced model, some of the FMS pages will be missing. So let's just look through different things we have here. This is the init page, which we have already looked at. You have the flight plan page. So for instance, if I wanted to add a waypoint, I would go insert next waypoint, write something which I know is near my house in Ukraine, so I push enter, I give it a choice. Probably made a mistake saying it's near my house, but anyway, return, and now I apply, and you see I have added next waypoint, and so forth. I could go and delete the discontinuity to have full flight plan, and so forth. So performance pages, you will go through the manual, go through the pages and learn them. A lot of things are here, a lot of things to learn. Really a new way to manipulate things. Now let's go to the OS display and look at some of the screens we have here. So by default this will be open to the options. This is basically the model options, where you have the flow of time setting, the difficulty level, which will control the failures in the model. There are some, less than in our Pro models, but there are some failures. Structural limits, which set to real, will basically break your plane if you do something which the real plane would not survive. Default bar units, so this is something that's controlled for, next time you open the plane, which bar units you will use. The default transition altitude, again something that you use once and then it's set for your flights. So if you fly in the States, you will want to set it higher, or in Europe you'll set it lower. Auto aligning, different functions, you can read about this in the manual. So the really new things are the touchscreen or wheel plus pop-up, which I've already explained. In this model we have added a very cool new feature, which is the mouse wheel support. So you can manipulate different knobs using your mouse wheel. So when the mouse wheel is set to manipulate, you will see this kind of cursor on things which you can manipulate. Now I'm just rotating my mouse wheel, and this is actually force sensitive, so if I rotate really fast I'll get a hard response. A lot of things can be manipulated with the mouse wheel. It's a bit tricky learning how to use the mouse wheel for both zooming in and out and manipulating things, but you'll get used to it really fast. I, for instance, use it all the time, and it's very cool. So for things like autopilot, you know that the Airbus autopilot controls will have a push, pull and rotation. So push and pull, you will see the finger, a hand and the rotation. And a lot of other things can be used, can be manipulated with the mouse wheel, like flaps for instance, or the speed brakes. You can push it to arm it. Now if I turn this option off, you will have the familiar drag to rotate technique, which is used in all our models and most models in X-plane. So a few other options here. This is the sound. So the sound control is here. You should not use the X-plane sound control because most of the sounds in the plane are custom, so their volume is controlled by this thing. Here you have some buttons which are off at the moment, but they can be used when they're on. You will see that they're white. Some of those things will be familiar for you if you have used the Popup models, who are the provider of the navigation system and the wonderful fly-by-wire in this model. So yeah, you have the drop pilot. So if you want, you can draw pilots everywhere. So some people like it, some people don't. So you'll have a pilot sitting here, and well, I can go like this and look at the face of this guy. Maybe you know him. That's right. So I prefer not to have them here, so I will just turn them off. So let's go through the pages here. So first is ground service. So ground service has doors and hatches, which allows you to control to open and close doors. You have all kinds of presettings here. You have ground equipment, where you can turn on stairs, chocks, passenger buses, and all the other things around it. Maintenance is not operational at the moment, will be probably later. You can set plane at the gate, so you don't have to call for a passenger bus or the stairs in order to load the plane. You can connect ground power units. So yeah, I've connected it here and probably available. So be sure not to disconnect them while they're on. That might cause a problem. You can have high pressure unit to provide you air for start or air conditioning while on the ground. There is also a pushback page here where you can control the pushback. So you can call him to push or pull, and you will actually see him outside and also here. So it will tell you how to use it. So I could probably call it now. So push. Yeah, so you see this guy's coming. And we should look. Yeah, here he is. Right. So he's preparing to push, and he will tell us what he was. So I just push again. Yeah, so he's retracting. We don't want him now. Then we have the airplane page. Airplane page lets you control things which have to do with the airplane. So passengers. Well, I've loaded the plane with engines running, so I could show you everything. So basically, loading the plane with engines running also loads the plane with passengers kind of loaded. But I can push the button here, unload. So the passengers are now unloaded, and I have control of this. So I can basically write numbers here. I can say that there are, I don't know, 5 crew members, and I can say that there are 10 guys in first class, and I don't know, 25 guys in business, and 100 in economy. By the way, you can push tab to switch from one to another, so you won't have to push enter every time. So you see, those guys are distributed all over the cabin. You can also use containers here for cargo, so you can say 5. And this pre-calculates the weights for you. And when you're done, you can hit implement, which will basically implement it. Now if I hit implement now, probably won't work, because the configuration is wrong. This means that some things are missing, like my doors are closed, or I haven't set gate configuration and other things like cargo loaders. Now, those of you who have other models by FlightFactor, you probably recognize this sound. So that's basically a guy that wants to tell you that you have done something wrong. So if I click implement again, here.
So there is no way to load the cargo without a cargo loader.
Yeah, so he'll tell you all kind of things that you've done wrong. Now I know a lot of you try from the 757. A lot of you try to kill him because you don't like him. So really no need to do that. Not here, not in the 57 actually, but you have volume controls over here. So you can just, click them, and then you won't hear him. So no need to be brutal. Right, so this is the passengers and cargo display, fuel display, same story. I could unload the fuel, and then I have control of this, so I can say how many tons I want, and so forth. Also there are presets here like light, middle, or heavy, just for a fast flight, and then you could implement. And of course this won't work because I haven't called for the fuel truck. And we have cabin here. Now cabin allows you to do a few things, setting doors to manual or automatic. Cabin lighting, that's important. People like light, they don't like to sit in the dark. And this is some information for you. This is not controlled at the moment, maybe it will be later, but you know, water level, waste level, things like this. Let's continue. So we have cabin announcements. Now, again, those of you who have used our planes, you know the stuff. Well, should have the, sorry, no, the PA should be on. And then I can click things like this, and
Ladies and gentlemen,
we can hear the
crew would like to welcome you on board this Airbus
welcome message.
A350.
Now those are volume controls, you can use them,
So your
they are all operational. I can actually click it so I don't hear him. I can press play again and he will stop. So even if I turn the sound on. Nope, didn't.
And ramzzess Aviation
I guess you can't.
wish you a pleasant flight
Alright,
experience.
so I will, well, you can stop it by actually pausing the sim for a second. Alright, now we come to the next one, User's Guide. User's Guide is basically all your documentation which we provide with the model sitting inside the cockpit. So here you can go page down like this, and you will basically switch between all the pages. I think there are 200 or something, 260 of them, and you can read anything you want, anything provided with the model. Here you also have shortcuts for different, like if you want to read about fly-by-wire, you go here, it's page 55, and you can browse through the pages here if you want to learn something, surveillance system for instance, how to use everything. Charts. Charts are an interesting thing, and probably some of you know how to use this already. So first, I will go to the folder where I have my plane installed, and I'll find a folder called Charts. Now here you will see that I have two subfolders which are called EBBR and EDDF. I have a little how-to text file and two applications. Now those are Java applications. In order to use them you need to have Java runtime installed. It's a free application, very easy to install, just Google it and you'll find it. Some of you may have it by default. And basically what you can do is you can drop a Jefferson chart or whatever chart you want as a PDF into this folder. Click one of those applications, one will be regular one and the other will be high definition one. And in a few minutes, it might take a few minutes if you have a big chart file, it will create another folder like this with little PNGs. And then those folders, you can use them here. You can see them here. So the folder I'm showing you is not the same one that this model is loaded from, because this is the final version and this is my working version. But you can see that I have 5 of them, so I have some more which I've created. But you will basically see whatever folders are here. Now I suggest when you do this, every time after you are done, remove the Jefferson chart from the folder, because every time you hit one of those files, it will basically try to create a folder out of each PDF file that you have here. So just to save time, don't keep them there. Otherwise, if you have 10 of them, it will take 10 minutes to convert all of them. So you can go here, and you can see your charts. Again, page down, it shows 2 pages. If the pages are vertical, it will show on one page. You can jump 10 pages by pushing this button, or you can zoom. And when you're in zoom mode, you can click the screen in order to pan. Now this of course the zoom didn't really work because it's not a very good chart. I think I have one which is high definition. I think this one. Yeah. So you see here you can actually read the text if you want. Now high definition means harder for your computer to process this. This is processed 1 page at a time. So if you click really fast, it might drop your frame rate for a millisecond or something. But generally this works really cool. So you can, if I can find some map to show you. Yeah. So you see, Yeah, you can actually see what happens here. And we have options which we have already seen. So yeah, this is for the OS display. So I think we've went through all the new stuff, all the unfamiliar stuff. So you have auxiliaries, things here. You can use those if your power goes out, something. They're fully functional. There are actually two of them. You can use both if you want. Set different pressures if you want. This plane is equipped with 5, I think. Fully functional artificial horizons. The warning display, I'm sure you're already familiar with it, and you will have to read the manual anyway. Many interesting pages here where you can monitor every system in the plane, hydraulics, things like this. One of the last things I want to show you is that this auxiliary MCD unit can also be popped up. So you can pop it up, and when the mouse is over here, your keyboard works, so you don't have to turn it on, you just have to place the mouse on the screen, and then you can type, click it to remove it. What else do we have here? Right, so we can go back there and look what's going on. The door is usually locked, so you want to open it. So you unlock the door, and it will sound this horrible sound because you really shouldn't leave the door open. So you should either close it or just go far somewhere and it will close automatically. I will probably close it. Yeah, so it shuts up. Right. So you can walk around. There are no passengers at the moment because we have unloaded the plane and haven't loaded the passengers, if you remember. This is a pretty nice cabin here, so feel free to walk around. And you know, if you want to take a rest, on those long flights, you have a rest area here where you can go sleeping if you want. Alright guys, this basically was an introduction to the model, just to familiarize yourself, to orient you, how to enter the numbers. This is really cool, this is really new. You will get used to this and you will love it. You will never want to use an old style cockpit without those touch screens and those graphical displays ever again. So well done for Airbus giving us this model to produce. They've really done something cool, and we've tried to match it with the model. Thank you again, and goodbye.